What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Ride and Dad channel video, or welcome if it's first time either way. Very glad to have you. Let's roll the intro, and then we're going to install a SW-Motech rear rack on this 2025 Yamaha MT07.
Riding down a YouTube channel, it's the riding down a YouTube channel, it's the riding down a YouTube channel, it's the riding down a thing that you found.
Alright, so SW-Motech makes a bunch of stuff. They make, so specifically with this rear rack, which is going to be, behind the passenger pillion seat. Basically, they make these other add-ons that come down and can be installed in tandem with this rear rack for saddlebags, which are also quick detach or not, depending on what you get. This rear rack is compatible with a bunch of different stuff, which is really why I chose this over the Yamaha version or whatever. I did have to wait 2.5 weeks for it to ship, but it's finally here. The quality's pretty good, or quality's very good. It looks pretty easy to install. So let's go ahead and I'll move you guys closer and we'll start off here. All right, so the first step is going to be to remove the rear seat. Obviously, you have to use your key. Kind of wiggle that bad boy free. All right, so we're going to have to remove these two bolts, remove these little kind of plastic pieces here, and then the bolts for the passenger pegs. Both of those bolts you can stow away. We're going to be using the ones that come with the kit itself from SW-Motech. Now, on this 25, these happen to be 12 millimeters, so let's go ahead and get these out. And yes, it's a little wet. I just washed the bike. I've been caught in some really bad, just dirty weather, rainy crap roads the past 3 rides. So it was time to wash it. I was trying to hold off for the 600-mile oil change, but just couldn't make it wait. Make sure you grab these stock spacers. All right, now removing these really sucks. I went ahead and took this side off just so I can show you guys kind of exactly what's going on there. But basically, so this is sitting like this. There's this, so this piece, there's like a solid piece of plastic. This fits in there, and then under there is this tab that clicks in, and there's this little tab. So you're gonna have to get something. What I used, and this is probably not ideal because it's pokey and it's gonna go right through, but what I use is that to push it, push that little tab in, and then trying to push it back. Now what I would also recommend doing is removing this screw back here, because what that's going to allow you to do is kind of stretch this out a little bit more. You can just pop that out of that back end, and it's going to give you a little bit more angle. If you really need to, you can pop this kind of plastic cowling fairing, whatever you want to call it, little piece, and then there's an Allen bolt back there that will allow you even a little bit greater kind of pull back in real estate to really get into that part. But we're gonna go ahead and try it without that, and hopefully my big head doesn't get in the way of the shot here. But it is it's extremely annoying and difficult to get with this. Now, if you really want to, if you're having a really tough time, you can take this whole plastic piece off like I did in the fender eliminator video. That's fairly easy to do, but it's also just a pain in the butt to do something to that extent for something like this. So let's go ahead and see what we can do with it with that on. I got one out, so we should be able to get this one out, right? Might have to try to get my other hook one that's a little bit more up. All right, I'm gonna try this one on this side and see if that helps me get some leverage. It will also help if, I know it feels like you should pull up on this to get, but if you push down on that and pull up on the general plastic piece, it'll help a lot also because you're relieving some of the tension from that push piece. I'm gonna go ahead and pop this piece off. Such a stupid, small thing takes such a large amount of time, it's ridiculous. All right, so we took this off, gonna give us a little bit more wiggle room for the fender, and I'm gonna try this 90-degree pick and see if that helps me even more. I'm also trying, for the camera's sake, trying to not put my head directly in the middle of the shot to try to have you guys actually see what I'm doing too, hopefully. There we go, I think that's the ticket. It's already squeezing out a little bit. Yep. able to pry it out the rest of the way, I think. Yep, here we go. Don't want to drop it because it'll be forever gone. All right, now put that stuff back together.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take sh**. I got no love for the fakeness.
All right, next we got to remove these two bolts on this 25 MT07. These are size 6.
I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
All right, once you've taken off obviously both sides, I just showed one side for the sake of video. The next step is going to be to install the side pieces for this rack, the actual mounting. So obviously we're going to use one bolt and a provide spacer there, and we're going to use 2 of the provided bolts on this side. So let's get going. Also, different size bolts. This one is a 5, and yes, of course, we are going to use Loctite, you know, some thread locker on those. So they are going to go in between the passenger mount. So I'm going to put them in just now so we don't have a bunch of Loctite everywhere where it doesn't need to be. But these are the bolts that SW-Motech comes with. They're going to go through here, and then into the frame. We're not going to tighten them too much now because we want to make sure that everything is together, including the rack in the back, before we really cinch these down. So just until about they stop on their own, just almost until they're touching. All right, so once those are put in place, we're going to use this bolt and this spacer. The spacer is, and these are again supplied from SW-Motech, same size head and all the bolts in the kit, which is nice. The spacer is going to go under the rack and through the woods to grandmother's house we go. All right, so under the rack or the frame, put some Loctite in there, and she goes. Again, on, but not sucked up. Same exact thing for the other side.
I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages. A vacant modern kingdom for the taking.
All right, once you're at this point, it's time to go ahead and put the rack on itself and these plugs. These little plugs just fit on the end of these tubes. So hopefully we can get them in there without smashing one of my fingers in. There we go. They are nice and tight, which is what you want, but makes the install a little difficult. There you go. All right, once that's done, you're gonna grab your remaining bolts in the kit. They look like this, and these washers. That's how they go. Obviously, the frame, or not the frame, but the rack is gonna go on top of this, and the bolts are gonna go in that way. So let's go ahead and do it, and of course, thread locker. All right, once you got the rack loosely installed, we're gonna go ahead and tighten the rack up first. Where we want it, we can go kind of up and down a little bit. I'm gonna go all the way out, just give my passenger seat a little bit room because I have a different seat coming as well. And obviously the farther out, it's a very small rack to begin with, so I don't have an issue having it, you know, a 1/4 inch further back. So we're gonna go ahead and tighten everything down, and according to the SW-Motech instructions, it is the specified torque specs for your manufacturer, and I didn't see any for this, but you guys know how I feel about torque specs, so let's tighten everything down. All right, so the rack is done. I am very sweaty. Per the sticker that's on it, says max load on rear carrier, 16.5 pounds or 7.5 kilograms for those of you that do not measure things in bald eagles and freedom. And it says, or the manufacturer or the motorcycle manufacturer's weight limit, whichever is less. So for this specific bike and me, 16.5 pounds is going to be, it's not going to be any less than that. So 16.5 pounds is a pretty decent amount. You can fit a pretty good amount of stuff. I have a little tail bag that previously was on this. I'm going to fit it to this in a little bit. It's actually only like 35 bucks. I think it will fit on this just fine. But like I said, they have a ton of like quick detach stuff that it has like a bracket that fits on this that's a little bit bigger, and then you can put the case, and some of the cases have little backrests and stuff. So it's a very well thought out piece of equipment. I like that it follows the lines very, very, you know, to a T, very perfectly. The little rack, not frame, what is this? The support beam, you know, like the, why can't I think of the word I'm thinking of? It's not rack that I want to say, but the arm, that's it. The arm for the rack follows the lines of the bike very nicely. Everything is just very well put together, streamlined. The quality of the finish is very nice. So I look forward to really using this and putting some extra miles on the bike and loading down with 16.5 pounds or less of gear. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I will post everything in the description as far as links to this, links to my build series playlist for this bike and all my past bikes as well. I'm gonna go inside and drink some water because I think I've sweat out at least a liter or two in here in this garage in this summer heat. But again, thank you guys very much for watching. I appreciate it. Like, subscribe to this video and the channel. I really do appreciate it. There's no reason why you can't. It's free. Comments, hit me up in there. Let me know what you think. Instagram, TikTok, everything. You know, easier way to talk to me, all in the description. Thank you guys. And until the next time, ride safe, have fun. Dad out.